會係45分正式開始嘅。
Fight for freedom. Stand with Hong Kong. 光復香港。時代革命。
I want to begin by saying something that it is a crime to say in Hong Kong, but that we have the freedom to say here. Gong Fuk Hong Kong, Si Dai Dak Ming. Gong Fuk Hong Kong. On behalf of Hong Kong Watch, I'm here to stand in solidarity with you, the Hong Kong community in the United Kingdom, with Hong Kongers around the world, and of course most especially with Hong Kongers in Hong Kong on this day when this new extremely draconian security law, Article 23, takes effect. 4 years ago, when Beijing imposed the national security law on Hong Kong, I assumed that it was instead of Article 23, because the national security law was already so repressive, so draconian. It has dismantled almost all of Hong Kong's freedoms and autonomy. And so I never imagined that the Hong Kong government would see the need for another security law. But no, the Hong Kong government and its masters in Beijing are so paranoid about any possibility of dissent, of criticism, of disagreement, that they want to snuff out every last possible opportunity for freedom, they want to stamp out every last corner of resistance. And that's why they have imposed this law. And this law is devastating for Hong Kong. Today is a very dark day for Hong Kong. But I think all of us here want to send a message to the Hong Kong government that although for the time being they may have succeeded in their objectives, they have not succeeded and they will never succeed in silencing the desire for freedom for Hong Kong in our hearts, in all of your hearts, and in the hearts of all people in Hong Kong. They can prevent people in Hong Kong from speaking out. They can imprison people, but they can never imprison an idea. They can never imprison a dream. They can never imprison a hope of one day Hong Kong once again being free.
Fight for freedom! Fight for freedom! Fight for freedom! Hong Kong independence! Say no to dictatorship! One nation! Hong Kong independence!
我哋俾多少少時間大家去做去填嗰份意向表格。
咁呢度咁多位嘅香港人能夠繼續堅持落去，可能今日我哋未見到曙光，我哋未見到希望，但係我哋見到嘅係仍然有咁多嘅香港人願意走出嚟。
We have a privilege to have a peaceful and safe protest here because we're living in a liberal democracy. This very concrete building showcases the authoritarian and totalitarian regime. The people inside, so-called officials, don't represent the people because they're not democratically elected. But they occupy the resources. They monopolize the money. They have such power to decide whether you can still be imprisoned or outside prison. We live under this oppression. Kong, we once had very proud history. For 200 years, developed from a small village to be international financial center. I would not condone colonialism, but at least the civil liberty have been preserved to some degree. That is the foundation for us to fight for the full democracy.
史書會有一筆一筆嘅記載，呢一班政治嘅受難者。
I'm Simon Chen. I'm one of the exiled Hong Kong pro-democracy activists based in the UK. So recently I've been wanted by the Hong Kong police and with the bounty for $1 million Hong Kong dollar. And today is about protests outside of the Hong Kong government representative office, we call it Economic and Trade Office, to object the passing of the Article 23, which is the additional security law, because this law actually criminalizes all dissenting thoughts in the guise of so-called national security. And we worry about the status of Hong Kong because we're based on the one country, two systems. We have certain civil liberty, we have rule of law systems. We make sure that our business community could function normally, and we also believe our citizens that they have their own sacred rights to be critical of our own government. But now is actually not possible. So I think it's trembling on our basic dignity of humanity. So that's why we need to state this protest to let our voice of the people could be heard, because it could be illegalized back in Hong Kong. Yeah, so Article 23, it means it's a national security legislation, which is they identify which is state secret. They try to target anyone that's deemed to be a spy, to do espionage, and also if there anyone advocate so-called secession, subversion, that could also be a problem. Then you could put into jail for the rest of your life. So what we worry is that back in the very opaque judiciary, everyone who has been critical of the government policy could be deemed as being subversive to the government, because it's one-party rule back in China. We don't want to be just one great leader governing our society. We want to have our vote, our say, to decide our own political leaders. But it's not possible. In the past few decades, we have a certain right to state the protest and march in Hong Kong for advocating a full democracy. But the Chinese Communist Party regime see that as a threat to them, so they impose this law over our people to quash any peaceful protest.